Swallowed Star. Chapter 436, A True Pinnacle Battle. As the white light shot over suddenly, Luo Feng however maintained total calm, immediately coming up with the best decision. 1 was to rely on the dark cloud shuttle to dodge it as quickly as possible, 2, use the soaring shuttle's sword matrix for defense, 3, use the dark golden long rod from behind to produce 4 more golden blades to block that white light. The 4 golden rainbows shot out from behind Luo Feng, almost like a net that engulfed the sky, wrapping over that white light. Dang! A clashing sound. Causing the distant skinny youth's expression to change greatly, he stopped it. That was his trump card, one that he had trained long for, with comprehension of the wind origin laws, a move infused with wind origin laws to unleash its full power. This leaving blade had the properties of the wind origin laws, its speed was extremely quick, it floated and arced about, its power was huge, it was his biggest trump card. During the training space stages, he didn't have any use for secret weapons, and later during the 3-round duels, his opponents weren't enough for him to have to use it, hence it had been kept a secret till now, he had been preparing to use it on an unready opponent. Trump card, they had the biggest power when unexpected. Without preparation, it was easy to get hit. The moment it was found out however, they would automatically have defenses for it, the trump card's power would be weakened. However, Luo Feng was too calm, even though this move was sudden, Luo Feng's terrifying calmness, without any hesitation acting in the best course of action to deal with it, not only did 4 golden rainbows block it, unleashing the sword matrix along with his dodging made it completely useless. Go and die. Luo Feng looked coldly at his opponent. The other 5 golden rainbows surrounded the skinny youth, his speed obviously couldn't match up to the golden rainbows, in an instant, he was pierced through. Wu Te We Si Ku, fail. Luo Feng, victory. Luo Feng descended from mid-air and looked at the white light that was stopped, it was a silver-white little blade, anyone capable of making it into the top 100, indeed they are not to be sneezed at. Within the universe, a spirit reader could control their spirit weapons from far, and fighters too could use throwing weapons, like javelins, short hatchets, short blades etc. Using Earth terms, these were called secret weapons. Secret weapons were indeed powerful, and rarely seen. After winning the first battle, Luo Feng entered the top 100, his prize rose to 100 mixed elements, and he gained the right to enter the virtual universe company Heaven and Land secret area. Congratulations to the punks in the arenas. The green-armored purple-scaled man stood in mid-air, surveying the 100 young ladies and gentlemen within the arenas. Firstly, I want to congratulate you on entering the top 100, able to enter our virtual universe company's Heaven and Earth secret area. Right now, we'll pick the top 20 from you all. According to the virtual universe system choices, I'll report the 20 names. Immediately the 100 just victorious youth geniuses began to get nervous, even though they had won, however only 20 of them would get the chance to go to the next round and battle, picking out the final 10. Luo Feng stood in the arena he battled in, looking at the green-armored purple-scaled man in mid-air, creasing his eyebrows. I didn't reveal my strongest trump card, my rating in the virtual universe system might be lower, however, according to what the scale-armored giant said and concluded, I should be able to rank in the top 10, then, I should get chosen. Bolin. The green-armored purple-scaled man began reporting the 20 names. Gu Si Luo. Ai Chen. Wuka. Yi Feng. Jia Lai Shi. Rong Jun. As the names were read out, those who didn't have their names read could barely suppress their nervousness. They were all victorious, yet only 20 could participate in the next battle. Qian Shui. Luo Feng. Tao. The chosen 20 are the names that I just reported. The green-armored purple-scaled man smiled. Will the 20 of you rest and recover from the battle before, in a short time, we will begin the next battle. As for who your opponent is, you'll find out when the battle begins. A group of youths sat casually in the plaza. Candida, congrats on making it into the top 100. Don't even talk about it, even though I made it to the top 100, however I wasn't chosen in the final 20. The tall and sturdy Candida had a look of dissatisfaction, even though those in the top 20 are all powerful, and I don't have a chance of winning. However, without actually making a move, I still feel dissatisfaction. Candida, don't be upset, we are all unhappy too. I didn't even get the chance to make it into the top 100. The youths that didn't have any more battles to fight were chatting casually, everyone chatted and got to know each other, because from today on, many of them would become long-term partners in the universe. And the final 20 sat in the corner quietly, they were quietly resting in controlling their mental state. Because in a moment, the more important battle was about to begin, the next battle would pick out the top 10, these 20 that were able to get on the name list, probably only Death God Bolan had a 100% guarantee, the other 19 weren't sure of their victory. My opponent, just who is it? Luo Feng's gaze swept his surroundings, 2 of the other 19 too were looking in all directions, one was the Menka Prince Wuka and the other was the fat man carrying the blood axe Tao. The Menka Prince smiled at Luo Feng and waved his fist. The fat man too glanced at Luo Feng and rubbed his ears. The arrangements of this battle, they didn't reveal, we'll only know when it's time to battle. This is probably a test too on our mental state. Luo Feng stopped worrying about it, closing his eyes, and according to his big and second brother's methods, cleansed himself and emptied his mind, entering a calm state, patiently waiting for the battle to begin. About half an hour later. Rumble, the plaza shook, in the vast plaza 10 arenas rose gradually, all were enveloped in large amounts of black netting, simultaneously the 20 resting people were immediately transported to the 10 arenas. Within the arena. Damn! Tragedy! That blood axe Tao actually faces Death God Bolan. We've been guessing who'd be so unlucky to meet Bolan, it's actually Tao, poor fellow. In the distance, the 980 other geniuses spectating laughed, and in the arena the wild unrestricted fat man Tao gripped on that terrifying huge axe, almost like a ferocious beast staring at the white-robed youth, however anyone could have predicted the outcome. Death God Bolan, that was an absolute genius that only appeared once after how many competitions. The Virtual Universe Company even specially included one more slot for the Primal Secret Area just because of him. The chances of the Blood Axe Tao being able to violently defeat the Death God Bolan were simply too low, unless he was a terrifying genius that appeared once every trillion years. Gu Si Luo against Rong Jun. Gu Si Luo was the training space ranked 2, a very perfect, no-error kind of strength. Among these 20, probably only he has the ability to fight Bolan. That Rong Jun meeting Gu Si Luo, it's over. Many in the entire arena stared at Bolan against Tao, however there were many watching another match, hypnotist Jia Laishi against madman Luo Feng. That hypnotist has met the madman. The two sick ones have met. From beginning to end, hypnotist didn't even make a move, just staring at his opponents and defeating them. Who knows whether that madman can withstand it? It's hard to say. Hypnotist is the most terrifying spirit reader hypnotist of this competition, till now no one has been able to withstand it, and besides using hypnotism, he can also use a spirit weapon to engage in long-distance attacks. When the opponent is caught in the illusion without any defenses, it'll be over quickly. Up till now, he hasn't even used a spirit weapon. Always only using hypnotism, his hypnotism must be extremely terrifying. Don't look down on Madman, I've seen his battle footage, so many footages, I've never seen him nervous or at a lose. His eyes, always cold, almost as though nothing affects his mental state. Hypnotist was regarded as the top 10, Madman 2 was regarded as the top 10, these two meeting, it'll be interesting. 10 arenas, 10 battles. Every match was a pinnacle fight, compared to the fights to become the top 100 before, the matchups now, only now were they truly worthy of the title pinnacle fights. In the arena. One on the dark cloud shuttle, dressed in a dark gray armor, carrying a dark golden long rod, a skinny black-haired youth. The other stood on a black disc, a tall and skinny silhouette covered in a black robe. Both were spirit readers, however they walked two different paths of a spirit reader, one was a controller while the other a hypnotist. The controller directed spirit weapons to destroy the physical body while hypnotists directed their attacks to destroy the soul directly. It was extremely hard to make progress as a hypnotist, however once that was achieved, they were terrifying. Becoming a controller was easier, however to become powerful, that too was difficult. Madman Luo Feng. The hypnotist Jia Laishi's voice was coarse, saying softly, "You have the strength of the top 10, however meeting me, you'll only be able to rank outside the top 10. So confident?" Luo Feng smiled, his eyes gleaming. The two awaited the announcement. In the 10 arenas, they all awaited. "The victor will enter the top 10, little punks, don't get careless, your opponents are all very strong. Let the battle begin." The green-armored purple-scaled man said from far away, his voice resounding in everyone's ears. Simultaneously, the 10 arena battles erupted. Jia Laishi, who was standing on the black disc, his gaze cold as his lips slightly moved. Wang. A formless traceless spirit energy immediately rippled towards Luo Feng, invading his mind. His spirit energy was simply too fast. While unleashing his hypnotism, Kia Laishi waved his hand simultaneously. The black disc below his feet had become a black light cutting straight towards Luo Feng's head. The first time. In the arena battles, this was the first time the hypnotist Jia Laishi used hypnotism and his spirit weapon in a simultaneous attack. Chapter 437, Top 10. A formless spirit energy sneakily invaded Luo Feng's consciousness. His consciousness was vast and endless, however a huge golden pagoda almost took up the entire space. This void pagoda had a total of 2 levels. This void pagoda with engravings appearing all over looked completely like a transparent crystal glowing with a golden light. It looked almost perfect, non-damaged and was completely able to protect his soul core within. The void pagoda, level 2. This was a secret technique passed down from the master of the Yun Mo planet. Luo Feng had studied and focused on the soul imprint and void pagoda, of which the soul imprint was created by his teacher. However, the deeper he delved into these arts, the more they favored soul attacks. Since his specialty was a controller, he slowly reduced his training on the soul imprint. Once he reached the basic 10,000 blade soul imprint and was able to condense his enslavement imprint, he stopped going deeper. On the other hand, the void pagoda was very important in Luo Feng's plan. As a spirit reader controller, he may be weaker in soul attacks. However, his defense had to be strong, he shouldn't have any obvious weaknesses. Hence, he never relaxed on that training. And the void pagoda was a very powerful technique. His teacher back then only acquired it by chance too, and before death, he had only reached 6 levels of the pagoda. If he had reached the 7th level, according to what his teacher assumed, that tragedy back then, he wouldn't have died. One could only imagine how powerful the void pagoda was. During the past 5 years, Luo Feng had never relaxed during his training. With the gold and space origin law comprehension, he reached level 2 of the pagoda. Void pagoda was purely for defense. Who? The hypnotist Jia Laishi's traceless spirit energy invaded Luo Feng's consciousness, immediately hitting the void pagoda. Upon contact, it didn't attack, but spread like a membrane to wrap around the void pagoda, gradually contacting it. The void pagoda, in essence, was made of spirit energy which was incomparably condensed. However, it was still spirit energy. And spirit energy was always infused with a trace of consciousness. Soul, in truth, was a complete fusion of countless amounts of spirit energy. With the formless spirit energy making contact with the void pagoda, Luo Feng's consciousness fell into a terrifying hypnotism. A second ago he was still clearly battling Jia Lai Shi, however in an instant his consciousness was in a different scene altogether. How can this be? Luo Feng stood above the Pacific Ocean. Looking at a over 100 kilometers long huge ferocious beast wreaking havoc, creating enormous waves. Simultaneously there were two 10 kilometers fierce absolute beasts spewing fire towards the ground. The skyscrapers and entire base city was in ruins, people were screaming in pain, while countless of them were running away. 30. What do we do? Just what can we do? These are at least domain lord level ferocious beasts, we can't match up to them. A panicked thunder god voice transmitted from his communicator watch. Third brother, quickly protect the final seedlings and leave Earth. Quickly flee. These are the last seedlings of Earth. Hong's panicked expression appeared on his communicator too. Something is not right. Wake up. Wake up. Luo Feng felt as though he was dreaming when he was young. Even though he consciously knew that he was dreaming, it was still difficult to wake up. Although he was in this state currently, the main thing was that his consciousness was too strong. Along with his mental state training in golden horned beast influence, his soul was incomparably cold. Hence his consciousness detected the hypnotism immediately. Being conscious of the fact was one thing, actually waking up was the important thing. Luckily the void pagoda had a tight defense on his soul core. So even if the hypnotist Jia Lai Shi's spirit hypnotism was incredibly powerful, it could only slightly affect him, as it was unable to penetrate deep into his soul. Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Luo Feng's willpower let out a strong and powerful roar, and the illusion world began to shake. Pang! The illusion was broken. Luo Feng had completely regained consciousness. Unlike that dreamy illusion world, everything before his eyes was incredibly clear. This was the true 100% simulation of the virtual universe. Xiao! The black disk had already reached close to Luo Feng. Just nice. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Standing on the dark cloud shuttle, his speed fiercely accelerated, simultaneously brandishing many shields. As the distance was too close, he didn't have time to use the Nanshan armament. Dang! The black disk clashed on the shield, causing the shield to get knocked away. It brushed Luo Feng's arm, cutting through the armor and a large part of his flesh. Fresh blood spewed out from mid-air, while Luo Feng had already dodged far away. Go and die! Luo Feng roared within, pointing at the distant Jia Lai Shi, who had an expression of shock. Rumble! 6 golden energy flows flew out from behind Luo Feng and immediately formed 6 golden blades, piercing towards Jia Lai Shi. Jia Lai Shi's expression was filled with shock. Impossible. Simultaneously, large amounts of golden shards formed around him to become an armor. Peng peng peng, the 6 golden rainbows pierced right through his helmet, eventually reducing his body to nothing but a mess. Rumble! An explosion and fresh blood flew all over. Jia Lai Shi was defeated. Madman Luo Feng was the victor. He entered the top 10. That was how fast a match between two absolute geniuses was like. If Luo Feng had awoken any later, it would have been him who would have died instead, with his head sliced right off. However, the moment he awoke, it meant Jia Lai Shi's death. How can that be? Covered in a black robe, Jia Lai Shi's eyes were filled with shock. My confusion god technique, according to my country leader, he said that only Bolin had reached a level where he wouldn't be affected. Others wouldn't be able to withstand it. Even within the top 10, I had a guarantee. I should even have had the hope of making it to the top 2. How come he, even if he wasn't caught in the illusion, to actually struggle and break out of the dream requires time. Within that little time, I should have been able to kill him, but he indeed had defensive methods. That defensive spirit weapon which formed his armor, could barely withstand the 6 golden blades' attack. However, Luo Feng's attack was simply too strong and ended up destroying him. Strong defense. Along with an even more terrifying spirit weapon attack with hypnotism. 1v1, he was indeed a terrifying opponent. However, he still lost. He lost. Jia Laishi lost. Many spectating geniuses were all shocked. From the previous footages of Jia Laishi, he was simply too intrepid. He did not even have to use his spirit weapon before, just his soul attack alone along with hypnotism could kill the enemy, and his moves were outstanding every time. This time, Jia Laishi didn't even take his enemy lightly, as he regarded madman Luo Feng as a true enemy. Hence, he used hypnotism and his spirit weapon simultaneously, however he still lost. With his full strength, he still lost. Luo Feng actually won. The distant 1008 undyings, their eyes gleamed. Over half of them had regarded Luo Feng as the loser of this match from the get-go, because they were very clear about the difficulty of training in hypnotism, and just how terrifying a powerful hypnotist was. To be able to immediately awaken, just how strong must one's willpower be? How calm? This punk is powerful, definitely powerful. A 10m tall man who looked like a bull with a horn exclaimed and complimented, his voice booming like thunder. Luo Feng's victory was considered quite a surprise. The main thing was Jia Laishi was long regarded by the undyings, as one that only Bolin could withstand. After all, with his comprehension of the origin laws being that deep, his consciousness was affected by the universe energies. Hence, he wouldn't so easily be shaken. The stronger a fighter, the stronger one comprehends the origin laws, his willpower and strength were more terrifying. If it was anyone else against Jia Laishi, their losing percentage would have exceeded 80%. Actually, of the top 20, other than Bolin, the other 18 would naturally feel apprehensive against Jia Laishi. Even Luo Feng didn't have full confidence, however this difficult person was actually eliminated by Luo Feng. 10 arenas, within one of them, the white-robed youth carrying the blood blade won. He turned and was obviously shocked when he saw the arena Luo Feng was in, creasing his eyebrows slightly, saying, "Luo Feng? Luo Feng?" The green-haired lady Qian Shui, who had similarly achieved victory, looked at the distant Luo Feng in his arena, with her bright and intelligent eyes. Right. During the time Luo Feng won, 3 victors had been decided. They were Bolin, Qian Shui and Luo Feng. It may have seemed like a slow exchange, but Luo Feng's was actually very fast. Qi. Similarly, a green-haired youth with engravings on his face revealed a smile in his arena. "Big brother, big brother." Qian Shui shouted and cheered. Her big brother Jiang Imo had entered the top 10 as well, both siblings entered the top 10. The victors of the 10 arenas began to emerge one by one. Bolin, Qian Shui, Luo Feng, Jiang Imo, Lancelot, Wuka, Ai Chen, Long Yun, El Pate La, and the final one. Rong Jun. The battle between Gu Si Luo and Rong Jun was the longest one of the 10. Gu Si Luo was a so-called perfect spirit reader controller. From the beginning of the battle, he seemed to be in control. As the rank 2 of the training space round and the one with the most hope of being the second one to enter the primal secret area, he actually lost to savage Rong Jun. Rong Jun won. Gu Si Luo actually lost. The one with the most hope of getting number 2, Gu Si Luo, he actually lost. The spectators on site, over 900 absolute geniuses, were all completely shocked. At the same time, the 9 victors in the arenas, all stared hard at the blood-covered war god Rong Jun, who looked like he just came from the wilderness. Powerful blade work. What terrifying blade work! Even death god Bolin creased his eyebrows. Everyone else, including Luo Feng, could barely contain their shocked expressions. This blade work. Luo Feng stared at savage Rong Jun. Looking at the huge blade, he remembered that brutal slash that could even slice mountains. Chapter 438, Low-Profile Opponent. So his movement wasn't his strongest trait, it was his blade work instead. Luo Feng stared at the youth Rong Jun. At the same time he reminisced about his match with him from 5 years ago. My true aim is the entire universe's #1, that roar seemed to resound in Luo Feng's ears once again. #1. So, this savage Rong Jun wasn't just making bold comments. Yes, Rong Jun had so much knowledge on even the 4 secret areas of the Virtual Universe Company. Obviously he wasn't just a simple frog in the well. Luo Feng thought, he had so much information on the standards of the previous #1s of the competitions, and he dared to actually say his aim was to be the overall #1, meaning he had some guarantee. Before unleashing that completely shocking blade work, Rong Jun was regarded as one who would reach within the top 20, but now that he's defeated Gu Si Luo top 5, he definitely has strength who could reach top 5. The large youth that was completely black, Aopatela said softly. That blade work is simply. The green-robed purple-scaled man flew in mid-air. A formless pressure naturally caused the 1,000 geniuses to turn to him. Congratulations to the 10 victors. You've entered the top 10, your prize has risen to 1,000 mixed elements and you have the right to enter the absolute beginning secret area. The green-armored purple-scaled man smiled. This time's top 10 battles have been very exciting, some punks have actually really surprised me. The 1,000 geniuses along with the 1,008 undyings all listened obediently to that 9 Blades Night. Bolin, Qian Shui, Luo Feng, Jiang Yamo, Lancelot, Wuka, Ai Chen, Long Yun, Aopate La, Rong Jun, congratulations to the 10 of you. In a moment, we'll pick the top 5 from you 10 and finally the top 2 from the final 5. The green-armored purple-scaled man smiled, as to how you are separated into your groups, according to the virtual universe system's set rules on how fast you completed your match before. There were some quick and slow matches before. The fastest will battle against the slowest, the second fastest will battle against the second slowest, and so on. Hua! The 1,008 undyings were shocked. The 990 spectating geniuses were shocked too. Even the 10 absolute geniuses who were about to battle were stunned. The time sequence was Bolin, Qian Shui, Luo Feng, Jiang Mo, Lancelot, Wuka, Ai Chen, Long Yun, Aopate La and Rong Jun. If the fastest were to match up against the slowest, then Bolin was up against Rong Jun. Qian Shui versus Aopate La. Luo Feng against Long Yun. Jiang Yamo against Ai Chen. Lancelot against Wuka. The most outstanding from the earlier battle, Rong Jun, actually matched up against the terrifying death god Bolin. According to what everyone present thought, including the 1,008 undyings, everyone regarded meeting the death god as a sure loss without doubt. Rong Jun against Bolin. Luo Feng looked at the distant wild youth. That's bad, even though Rong Jun's true strength is terrifying, no matter how much his strength explodes, his opponent is Bolin. And Bolin far exceeds the rest of us, Rong Jun will definitely lose. As Bolin was too strong, one could see just from the training space what the outcome would be. Being ahead of everyone by an entire tower, almost everyone held their breaths for Rong Jun. One had to know that the settings by the virtual universe system couldn't be changed, and only accepted. Also, other than the 9 present, no one else would want to meet Bolin. However, one would ultimately have to. And this unlucky person was Rong Jun. Rest for a while, the arena duels will begin shortly. The green-armored purple-scared man's voice resounded in everyone's ears. Interesting, really interesting. 13. Your 2 seedlings from the Ganwu universe country are both very powerful. Especially that Rong Jun. While others are using techniques created by ancestors and earlier generations, that Rong Jun actually created his own technique. That blade work, after fusing both the ground and space origin laws together, the strength is actually so powerful. If he didn't meet Bolin, he could have totally made it to number 2. Don't compliment him so much. He is strong, but that other one. Luo Feng doesn't seem any weaker. His mental state and willpower is perfect within his generation. One's willpower and mental state will determine how far one finally goes later on. In comparison, I actually prefer Luo Feng. As for Rong Jun, actually he's still too weak now in the star level, creating his own technique at this time is too early. Learn from others first, at least become a sector lord, and when your sights have widened and your understanding of the origin laws have gotten deeper, it wouldn't be too late to create your own technique then. Makes sense. What you say isn't exactly right. That Rong Jun creating his own technique, even though it's just the beginning, you can still see how huge that power is. And by creating one's own technique, when unleashing its strength, it becomes even greater. Other people's techniques are after all still others, your own would be best. It's much too early for that. Now isn't the time to be creating your own technique. Surrounding the scale-armored giant, the other Undyings began to discuss. The scale-armored giant creased his eyebrows. Looking at the distant Rong Jun and Luo Feng, his eyes could hardly suppress the happiness. These 2 punks really surprise me time and again. Among the 1008 universe countries competing, there are actually 2 of them in the top 10 from our Ganwu universe country. If the leader knew, he'd be very happy. The 1008 Undyings in the plaza, along with the 990 other geniuses, were constantly discussing. However, the final 10 geniuses were quietly waiting. Initially they felt a little pity for Rong Jun, but after, they all began to notice their own opponents. Long Yun. Luo Feng looked at the distant silhouette. He was tall at 2 m, he had a muscular build and looked strong. Wearing a strange style of heavy armor, he had a helmet with a horn on it. His gaze was deep and unfathomable, and the side of his face even had some yellow fur. He was Long Yun, a very low-profile youth from the Lan Ting universe country. He had never attracted anyone's attention. Since the beginning of the gathering of the million geniuses, people like hypnotist Jia Laishi, the Manka Prince, El Gu Se Planet's genius siblings, Savage Rong Jun etc., many had reputations that were much more renowned. However, no one really paid attention to Long Yun. During the training space, even though he was in the top 100, he was still in the back 50. As for making it into the top 100, Long Yun's victories were simple. These victories were not very glaring or outstanding, because everyone else's victories were simple to eye-catching. Making it into the top 10, Long Yun's victory seemed very taxing. This Long Yun's strength? Luo Feng jumped within. Right, I've never really noticed him before. Very average and keeping a low profile, this was Long Yun. What seemed like a rather normal punk actually made it to the top 10. Luo Feng. Sitting not too far from Luo Feng was the wild youth, communicating via genetic energy. Something the matter? Luo Feng looked over. Be careful of Long Yun. The wild youth communicated, from my observations and information gathered before, among the top 20, 19 of them have comprehension of 2 origin laws. Only one person has comprehension of just one origin law. Luo Feng stepped through the gateway of gold and space laws. Rong Jun stepped through the gateway of ground and space laws. Everyone else was similar, like the death god Bolin stepped through the gateway of wind and space laws, while Yifeng stepped through wind and wood, or that Ai Chen stepping through light and time. Of the 19 that stepped through 2 gateways, 8 had stepped through space, 6 stepped through time, the other 5 didn't have any comprehension of time or space at all. However, no matter the case, these 19 are all that stepped through 2 gateway laws. Only one person had comprehension of just one origin law, and that's Long Yun. The wild youth communicated. Ah! Luo Feng was shocked. He hadn't researched so much in detail. In the history of every genius competition between the 1008 universe countries' absolute geniuses, those that were able to make it into the top 20 were mostly all who comprehended 2 origin laws, or focused on space or time. He comprehends the ground origin laws, which are very heavy and grounded. His defense is extremely strong, and his attack is very strong too. His comprehension far exceeds my single use of the ground origin laws. Be careful. Rong Jun communicated. Thanks. Luo Feng replied. No need, I don't have a big chance of victory in my fight. If you can win, I'll be happy too. Rong Jun said. Luo Feng looked at Rong Jun and smiled, all the best, you never know, you might be able to topple that Bolin. Ha! You never know, however I will never admit defeat easily. Rong Jun smiled back. Half an hour later. The original arenas in the plaza had vanished, tremors began again and 5 even more luxurious and beautiful arenas rose and floated above. The light cover on the arenas were translucent light membranes. These membranes, under the light ball in the sky reflected 7 colors of light below, it was beautiful. As for the 10 youth geniuses, they were all transported to their respective arenas. Rong Jun against Bolin, Luo Feng against Long Yun. 5 absolute pinnacle battles, it was about to begin. Within the beautiful arena, Luo Feng faced Long Yun. Long Yun's entire body was covered in heavy armor. His helmet had a horn on it. With a flip of his hand he brandished a terrifying huge axe, his eyes staring hard at Luo Feng, a powerful strength-based fighter. The skinny Luo Feng stood on the dark cloud shuttle, carrying the Nanshan armament on his back. He was a proper spirit reader controller. You are very strong. A thick booming voice, almost like a bull roaring. Long Yun stared coldly at Luo Feng, emphasizing, you are much stronger than what I expected. To show you the respect I have for such a strong warrior like yourself, I will use my full strength and defeat you. The moment his words ended, yellow energy began to emanate from his body. This yellow energy rippled about, the surrounding space seemed to almost condense and solidify. A formless heavy pressure was formed, this made the distant Luo Feng's expression change. It's too abnormal. Monster. This. Madness. This Long Yun is really sly and simply too devious. The spectating 990 geniuses were all shocked. Even the distant 1008 undyings, among those who were watching this match, many of them revealing a look of shock. Right, to be able to rely on only the ground origin laws to make it into the top 10. Also, to have such deep comprehension of the ground laws, yet not stepping into the space laws is the weird thing. But it's really true, it's just this way. And just his domain alone was already that terrifying. Chapter 439, The End of the Genius Competition. Luo Feng squinted, staring at the distant wild fighter Long Yun who was releasing his domain. The top 10 of the universe, all of them had their domains, and most of their domains were at level 9s. Having a domain wasn't strange at all, however this wild fighter's domain had almost perfectly melded the ground origin laws with it. The moment he released his domain, the space around it felt almost like it condensed and solidified. It was terrifying. His comprehension of the ground origin laws is even stronger than Rong Jun's. As for the space origin law comprehension, there's no way to confirm, but from the look of his domain, it shows that his fusion is almost perfect. Luo Feng understood that he was in a predicament. He had comprehended two origin laws and melded them together perfectly. Like the Nanshan armament, which required two types of origin laws to be fused together. However, this was something Luo Feng was able to achieve only when he actually used Nanshan armament. As for himself, after all, the gold origin laws were reliant on the golden horned beast and the space origin laws were reliant on the Masha clan clone, using them together was his earth body. Luo Feng's improvement was too quick indeed. The resulting fusing efficiency was not able to keep up with the golden horned beast and Masha clan's speed. Let the battle begin. The green-armored purple-scaled man shot a look at the distant Long Yun in the arena and said. The 5 battles began immediately. Go. Standing on the dark cloud shuttle in mid-air, Luo Feng pointed at Long Yun. Immediately 9 golden energy flows shot out from the dark golden long rod on his back, immediately forming 9 golden blades, with the golden energy wrapped around it. The 9 golden rainbows were like 9 golden dragon heads, roaring as they rushed towards that wild fighter Long Yun solidly standing on the ground. 9 golden rainbows, let's see how many you can block. Luo Feng looked on. Chi. The yellow domain with a diameter of 50 m seemed incredibly solid. The 9 golden rainbow speeds dropped drastically the moment they entered the domain, so much so that one could even see the difference in speed. It was almost as though piercing through the domain was incredibly difficult. When they reached about 50 m away from Long Yun's body, their speeds had already dropped till only 1/3 of the original, their power were also reduced compared to before. Dang! 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 The golden rainbows clashed with his armor. Long Yun didn't even budge. This domain has already, in mid-air, Luo Feng's expression changed greatly. Earth's thickness and heaviness, space and domain best combination, these 3 are perfectly fused. The distant 1008 undyings, that tall and huge bull man laughed loudly. It seems like just from his domain's pressure alone, Long Yun ranks number 1 in the top 10. Bolin emphasizes more on speed, Long Yun emphasizes on defense, these two are completely different. This Luo Feng is unlucky. The last time he met the difficult Jia Laishi, and now the even stronger Long Yun. Ha! When the distant undyings were discussing Long Yun, he had already taken a big step and rushed towards Luo Feng. Rumble! 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 The running Long Yun, every step made the entire arena rumble, almost as though an entire mountain was rushing forward, following which his body became a blur and flew into the air. Luo Feng immediately used the 9 threads and left 9 images in mid-air, dodging far away. Rumble! Long Yun landed on the ground. Long Yun, take my strongest move. In mid-air, Luo Feng roared, gritting his teeth, sky-piercing formation. Ong! The 9 golden rainbows immediately stopped in mid-air, they simultaneously swiftly flew together and fused. These 9 golden lights immediately became one body as large amounts of blurry golden threads weaved through each other. The golden light it formed also constantly shrank and the golden threads were constantly growing thinner. Even though it seemed like it was shrinking. In truth, every golden blade was formed from 9 little blades. This golden light fusion was actually made from 81 little golden blades together, and these 81 blades were small in form. The only thing was it was closing the distance between each of them. In the blink of an eye, the 81 blades had fused perfectly, forming one single true golden blade. This golden blade didn't seem like an illusion at all, it was solid. At 1/3 of a meter long, it was completely formed by the 81 little golden blades melding together. As they continued to condense and tightly fuse, simultaneously countless golden threads weaved through it, causing this blade to be incomparably real and perfect. Examining it further, one couldn't even find a trace or mark of the parts, almost as though it had always been this 1/3 m long golden blade. The golden engravings on its surface caused the entire blade to emit an ancient aura. Nanshan Armament 2nd Level, Sky-Piercing Formation. Xiao. The golden blade wrapped with the golden energy flow was almost like a comet, leaving behind a golden energy flow as it streaked towards Long Yun. Long Yun's expression changed, the yellow domain he controlled shook the ground. Qi. 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 Like a needle piercing through layers of cloth, even after entering the yellow domain all the way, it still had 80% of its power. Roar. Long Yun waved his terrifying huge axe, the area around the axe seemed to be pressurized, immediately hitting that golden blade. Rumble. The arena shook violently. Long Yun took 3 heavy steps back, every step itself shaking the arena. 990 spectating geniuses, along with the 1008 undyings, were all surprised as they watched this scene. Surprise! What a surprise! This Luo Feng has not only reached the 2nd level of the 10,000 threads, his gold origin law's comprehension has improved greatly too. He can actually use the sky-piercing formation. A group of undyings were shocked. This time's competition not only had the once-in-a-trillion-years exceptional genius death god Bolin, simultaneously it had others that could definitely made it to number 1 in the other competitions. Jia Lai Shi, Luo Feng, Gu Si Luo, Rong Jun, Long Yun, if they were in the earlier competitions, they definitely could get number 1. Even if it wasn't number 1, they'd have made it to the top 3. And this time, it was a gathering of the elite. In terms of origin laws, Luo Feng was indeed much better at his gold laws than the space laws. One must know Luo Feng had began to feel the gold laws much earlier, and in terms of difficulty, space laws were much harder than the gold laws. Ever since he began using the 9 threads. Fusing the 9 threads along with his gold laws comprehension, Luo Feng could fuse the 9 blades into one to form the sky-piercing formation. This was his big trump card, he had no rush to use it. When he was in the training space 6th tower before, he faced 10,000 blood hair mammoths. Against 10,000, Luo Feng's blades weren't enough, naturally using the 9 made more sense. Against Long Yun however, 1v1, the sky-piercing formation was stronger. Very good. Long Yun's eyes gleamed, immediately rushing forward with a stride. He managed to deflect the power. Only suffering light injuries. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows, the power of the sky-piercing formation was shocking, one could be said to be invincible in the star level for being able to use the first dream blade formation. If that was the case, then using the sky-piercing second formation was even more invincible. This was comparable to even the golden horned beast in the same level, or even pressuring it. It was mentioned before that the golden horned beast wasn't the crazy training types. This meant that only in these pinnacle genius competitions, will one even meet a match. Rumble. Long Yun rushed into the sky, the yellow energy flow following and covering that huge axe. Luo Feng however had long formed 9 images and dodged. Go! Luo Feng dodged and roared. Xiao! The golden blade once again pierced towards Long Yun. Rumble! It seemed like a simple straightforward pierce. However, it was infused with unimaginable strength, only slightly weakening in Long Yun's heavy domain. However, Long Yun still only stepped back and deflected the power. Xiao. 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 Time and again the golden blade pierced forward. Long Yun was like a tortoise blocking it over and over. He wanted to chase Luo Feng, however Luo Feng's speed on the dark cloud shuttle was too fast. Within the 5 arenas, the matches ended one after another. Bolin against Rong Jun, Bolin wins. Qian Shui against Ao Pate La, Qian Shui wins. Jiang Imo against Ai Chen, Ai Chen wins. Lancelot against Wuka, Wuka wins. Only one battle remained at this point. That was between Long Yun and Luo Feng. Long Yun was like a shelled warrior blocking the sky-piercing formation time and again. Even though his body's injuries were still within his control, the Golden Blade's attacks had also affected his speed, making him unable to immediately explode and chase after Luo Feng. The fighter's close-range explosion in speed was very shocking, enough to close in and kill a controller. It was a pity, the sky-piercing formation stopped Long Yun, and he couldn't do anything against Luo Feng. And Luo Feng had used even soul attacks, yet he couldn't do anything against Long Yun. These two were at a stalemate. Minutes and seconds passed and the arena space gradually shrank. The longest one of these pinnacle fights lasted was 10 minutes, the arena would continue to shrink till its diameter was but 1 m. This was to stop a controller from constantly flying far away, a constant rule throughout. Damn! Luo Feng's in trouble. As the arena continues to shrink more, there will be only 1 kilometer in diameter left, Luo Feng's circling space will shrink too, it will be very disadvantageous to him. When there was only 100 m in diameter left, Luo Feng could only force a smile. 100 m. At star level 9, just one step could close that distance. The more important thing was that Long Yun's domain maintained the highest of pressures within an area of 50 m. Considering that the arena's diameter was only 100 m now, his pressure almost covered the entire arena space. That meant, that no matter where Luo Feng flew to avoid him, he would still be in the domain. In terms of domain pressures, no one was Long Yun's match, even Bolin would have been weaker. Ping! 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 In that little area, Long Yun's face flushed red. He was madly dancing with the huge axe, the domain pressure had completely stifled Luo Feng, persevering until the space had only a diameter of 50 m left. Luo Feng finally fell. His loss seemed unfair, yet not unfair at all. It was unfair because if the space hadn't shrunk, Long Yun would never have gotten the chance to close in and kill him. It wasn't unfair because in terms of law comprehension and fusion and usage, his opponent was indeed stronger in every way. The top 5 had been picked out, they were Bolin, Qian Shui, Ai Chen, Wuka and Long Yun. 3 men and 2 ladies. Very exciting, these 5's battles have indeed been exciting with many surprises. The green-armored purple-scaled man smiled and looked at the 1,000 youths. Everyone take a rest, in a second, these 5 will engage in a winner's round duel. The rules are, every one of the 5 will have to battle each of the other 4. Each victory will get 1 point, and the final points will determine the top 1 and 2. After a while, Luo Feng lifted some tea and drank, Rong Jun sat beside him and both of them watched the distant battles in the arenas. What a pity. Rong Jun sighed, you actually reached the sky-piercing formation. You definitely had the power to make it to number 2. If one said that Long Yun was strong in defense, then you Rong Jun are strong in offense. If you hadn't met Bolin, you could have the chance to make it to number 2. Luo Feng laughed too. These two exchanged glances and laughed. These two were both strong-willed and well-planned people. Luo Feng insisted on his path of a controller while Rong Jun insisted on his own created techniques. Each road had trillions of pathways, the main thing was being committed to one's choice. After all, any road could lead to becoming an absolute strong warrior. The only fear would be that in doubting oneself. In this genius battle, the two of them were considered unlucky. One of them met Bolin, while the other lost due to the shrinking of arena. It had ended. The journey for both of them had ended here, as they were finally able to reach within the top 10. This Long Yun sure is strong. Rong Jun exclaimed, as he looked at him defeat the Manka prince in the arena. His domain fusion is stronger than you, however his axe work cannot compare to your blade work. Luo Feng said, look, that Qian Shui is really powerful, she won. She's the only controller of the top 5. However, her attack strength obviously cannot compare to your sky-piercing formation. If you were there, you could have easily defeated Qian Shui. Rong Jun said. While they chatted and watched the battles, the matches passed by quickly. Soon, the final results were out. Bolin, after 4 consecutive victories, he became the undisputed number 1. Long Yun, with 3 wins 1 loss, became number 2. He lost against Bolin. Bolin's blade work was simply too fast and vicious. Bolin gained the right to enter the primal secret area, and everybody accepted that. As for Long Yun entering the primal secret area, that aroused many people's suspicion. After all, Jia Laishi, Luo Feng, Rong Jun were all comparable to him. However, if any of these made it into the primal secret area, they too would have aroused the same suspicion. Similarly, without any clear exceptional lead, everybody wouldn't be convinced. The 1,000 geniuses and 1,008 undyings stood in the plaza and listened to the purple-armored purple-scaled man speak. Number 1 and 2. Numbers 3 to 10. Numbers 11 to 100. Numbers 101 to 1000. The 4 levels have been picked out. This time's Pinnacle Genius competition of humans has ended perfectly today. The green-armored purple-scaled man smiled, you all have been a very exceptional batch. I believe that in 10 to 100 eras, there will be many of you whose names alone will shake the entire universe. Later there will be a specialist contacting you to take you to our virtual universe company's main headquarters. There, you will gather and later head to the primal universe. From today on, your paths will no longer be ordinary. Our virtual universe company will use our full strength to assist you. As for whether you become powerful beings who shake the entire universe, or normal warriors, or die midway, it all depends on yourself. Work hard, your path to become strong has just begun. The green-robed purple-scaled man's voice resounded in everyone's minds. This genius competition had finally ended. Chapter 440, Distance. The genius battle had finally ended. Whether it was the mighty 9-Blade Knight or the 1008 Undyings, they all left immediately. Luo Feng and the 1000 youths still remained there as the worker beside them shouted, everybody please stay for a while. We still have some matters to discuss with you all regarding us taking you to the virtual universe company headquarters. After a while, within restaurant number 2 in the plaza, Luo Feng and the 1000 geniuses sat in the meeting room. Let me introduce myself, I am Mana. At about 2.67 m, wearing a smile with a streak on his neck, the man stood at the front of the meeting room, as our virtual universe company has to arrange for the universe ships to specially go receive you all. Can everybody please fill up the paper in front of you with the correct planet address, and I will collect them. Luo Feng picked up the pen and began to write, Donwu Universe Country, Black Dragon Mountain Starfield, Milky Way Galaxy, by Lon Star. The 1000 youths from the many universe countries were writing. Do we even need this? Just tell us where to gather and we'll take our own ships and head over, wouldn't that do? Right, there's no need to pick us up, it's troublesome. Among the group there was some shouting. Mana smiled and said, as the travel will pass many universe countries, it is very very far away, and the normal universe ships travel very slow within the dark universe. To actually reach our company's headquarters, would require a very long time. To save everybody's time, naturally, our virtual universe company will specially arrange for the best universe ships to receive you. This 1000 here, the one that's the furthest from our headquarters, is 1.5 billion light-years away. Mana smiled, and the ratio of distance between the dark universe compared to the real universe is 1 to 1008 1000 times. Even if one moved at light speed all the way, it would still require 150 years to reach. Silence. The initially bustling meeting room went silent. Even Luo Feng, who was seriously filling out the form, couldn't help but look up. 150 years. My God, 150 years. A beast man who looked like a lion in the corner exclaimed as he was shocked. The longest I've sat in a universe ship and traveled was for only about 2 months, this 150 years. The universe was too huge. Back then, just heading from Earth to Horn Dragon Star, by utilizing that universe travel within the Black Dragon Mountain star field, required about half a month. And that was only one star field. Above the star field, was the bigger star sector, and every star sector was incredibly vast. That farthest away from the headquarters being 1.5 billion light-years, wasn't an exaggeration at all. If everybody took their own ships. First point would be that the speed is too slow, hence it would require too much time. Second point would be that due to long period of travel, the amount of energy wasted by the ship would be shocking. Third, and also the most important point, is that when you travel in the dark universe, there are some special spots which are not safe. You'll meet universe pirates. Or even some other races that will rob you. To all here, safety is of utmost importance. On the stage, Mana smiled. Right now the best normal universe ships can at most do a couple of times light speed in the dark universe. This means that the travel would still take far too long. Luo Feng nodded. By reaching light speed in the actual universe, according to the rules of calculation, one could immediately reach the dark universe. However, there was a base speed but no upper limit. As long as your ship was good enough, one could reach even faster, 1 time. 2 times. 3 times light speed. If your universe ship was good enough, you could reach that speed in the dark universe. A C-grade Black Dragon Mountain ship could reach up to 1.5 times the light speed in the dark universe. Even with that speed, for a distance of 1.5 billion light-years, one would still have to fly continuously for 100 years. Collection complete. Beams of light landed on each person's paper, and a screen appeared at the front of the meeting room. On it was a large galaxy map, and beside it were complicated numbers and symbols. Mana took a look and turned back to the 1000 geniuses, smiling. Attention all, your written addresses have all been recorded in our file. According to your 1000 different locations and our ship resources, we've already chosen the best route for each of you. How long will it take? How long will it take for us to reach the virtual universe headquarters? A few couldn't help but ask. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows too and stared at Mana on the stage. 150 years. 100 years. No matter what it was still too long. As you all have different distances, the arranged ships will travel at different speeds too. I can still guarantee you that the maximum travel time will be 3 years. 3 years. So short. How is that possible? How fast can that universe ship reach for it to travel 1.5 billion light-years in 3 years? The 1000 geniuses including Luo Feng all mostly stared wide-eyed. They were anything but naive. Even Luo Feng, who had participated in 2 Ganwu auctions, was shocked. 3 years of traveling in the dark universe, with a distance of 1.5 billion light-years, that meant the ship could reach 50 times light speed. This was simply an unbelievable number. A C-grade ship was normally a little above 1 time. Even an E-grade ship was probably just a few times. Like Luo Feng's acquired automaton ship, that level of technology was much more than a regular human's 3-grade ship. However, that automaton ship could at most travel 10 times light speed in the dark universe. Our virtual universe company will arrange an F-grade ships for everybody. Mana smiled, and these aren't the easily purchasable F-grade ships. But rather, special F-grade ships that are only manufactured in the virtual universe company. The technology far exceeds that of regular F-grade ships within universe countries. Silence. Stunned. Shocked. F-grade ship, the Yun Mo planet master Hu Yen Bo spent countless amounts of wealth to get one F-grade ship. Many Undyings couldn't even afford it. Just from those two facts, one could see how expensive and valuable an F-grade ship was. Within the many star-field empires, like the Black Dragon Mountain Empire, there wasn't even one F-grade ship in the entire empire. Even though the universe countries normally had it, the majority of the F-grade ships couldn't even reach 50 times light speed in the dark universe. Incredible. Sitting on Luo Feng's right was the Menka Prince. The Menka Prince Wuka stared at Mana on the stage and said softly, "Really incredible. It actually can send 1,000 F-grade ships, and all of them with such technology." My imperial father had said before that the virtual universe company's technology is like the sacred land for humanity's technology. But that's just simply too incredible. Among the groups in humanity, the virtual universe company's technology ranked first. Even in the vast universe, within countless races, those who were actually be able to compete with the virtual universe company's technology were far and few. Only races like the automaton race or other very few races had such level. "Mr. Mana, can we buy these F-grade ships?" Someone shouted. "Right, can we buy them?" The Menka Prince shouted. "These are internal items of our virtual universe company. As core members within our company, you all can definitely purchase them. However, you can only use them for yourselves. You can't sell it to others. If you want to sell, you have to sell it back to our virtual universe company." Mana smiled. "The only thing is that these F-grade ships are too expensive. Even among the Undyings, many of them can't afford them. You all shouldn't be too anxious, train hard, and when you become absolute warriors within our company, the company may just give you one altogether." A group of the youths smiled immediately. Absolute warriors were given an F-grade universe ship. To actually be allocated one, just what level of strength did one have to reach? To these bunch of star-level punks, that was indeed too far away. Awesome. Luo Feng couldn't help but mutter. "Sigh, madman." The Menka Prince Wuka beside turned over and said softly, "Don't listen to this guy's boast so much. There's no such thing as a free meal in the universe. If you want to receive one, you definitely have to pay for it in one way or another. That's what my father said. However, let me tell you, the virtual universe company is definitely a sacred land for the human race, with countless treasures and techniques. It's a pity we didn't enter the primal secret area, but it's still okay. We've entered the absolute beginning area, there are many perks there too. You'll know in the future." "Ah." Luo Feng smiled and nodded. "Let me inform you all." Mana smiled. "The top 1,000 ranks, the prize money for each is being sent now. Please go check your bank accounts when you return. As for now, everyone can leave. When our virtual universe company sends a special letter to you all later to inform you of the pickup time, please be present at the written addresses and be ready. Don't let us not be able to find you." Mana smiled. "So then, go back and accompany your family and friends. Very soon, you'll all be leaving your home for a long period of time. The bustling meeting room became silent suddenly. Right. They'd have to leave their homes for a long time. Just heading to the headquarters alone took 3 years, and that was in the expensive F-grade universe ship they sent. One had to say, facing the vast universe, just the travel alone took up a shocking amount of time. Human silhouettes began to vanish from the meeting room, everyone left. After leaving, Luo Feng's consciousness once again entered the virtual universe and entering at the set location of Black Dragon Mountain Island 9-Star Bay District. Who? He appeared in the grass patch, there was however no one at all there. They are all not around. Luo Feng shook his head and laughed, right, I haven't told them about the competition ending today. The genius competition wasn't broadcasted publicly. The footage was edited and cut after everything to produce the best and most exciting footage to broadcast. After all, many battles happened simultaneously, and they happened very quickly. My wife should be at her company now. Luo Feng sat in a chair in the grass patch. Her company headquarters seemed to have moved to the Ganwu continent, truly fierce. Su Xian was originally very good at business. Opening a business on Earth didn't give her much accomplishment, hence she entered the virtual universe and opened it there. This virtual universe was humanity's largest market in the universe as it gathered 1008 universe countries, almost 100% of elites. Hence there were many companies in the virtual universe. With Luo Feng's financial support, Su Xian had enough capital and grew very quickly. Little Hai and Ping Ping should be at the Ganwu dojo, or playing virtual games. Luo Feng muttered, my parents should be playing virtual games too. Who knows how they came to like the Chinese immortals kind of virtual games. The virtual universe had tens of thousands of different kind of games. Types like the Chinese immortals, even though the names may vary, but many were similar. His parents came to like them, his dad even shouted, I've always thought of such a day when I was young, that I'd be able to experience virtual games like these, this is so thrilling. His parents were happy, naturally Luo Feng didn't bother them. I need to go. I'm going to leave my home for a very long time. Luo Feng's feelings were complex. He could kind of understand Hong's thoughts back then. Big brother. You are back. Suddenly a voice resounded. From the balcony of a distant 3-story villa, Luo Hua was looking over and shouted.